For the last few years, I have commuted to Temple along Stanyan. Early in 2021, I noticed something strange as I made my way up the hill past Golden Gate Park. The absolute slowest and most bizarrely, perfectly driving car that I had ever seen. You guessed it, a driverless vehicle. I was shocked at the lack of a human being behind the wheel, and I was also irked that there was no driver that I could mentally direct my frustration at as I was late to work. Over time, one car became two, and gradually a weekly occurrence became a daily expectation. Eventually, I realized that my commute was a cruise training route, and I mentally added an extra 5 minutes to my commute time to account for their clunky, overly rule-following, and frankly, inefficient way of navigating traffic. Though I have gradually gotten more accustomed to seeing cars with no drivers and dozens of cameras on their roofs and their sides, it's now clear to me that learning how to navigate the road alongside driverless vehicles is just one of the mental adjustments and recalculations that all of us are going to have to make as artificial intelligence evolves and advances. AI is everywhere right now. And here in San Francisco, we are at the heart of it, boasting headquarters of 11 of the country's top 20 AI companies. This might be the only bima in the world where you could tell a story about driverless vehicles and the majority of the people listening would understand from firsthand experience. In this new age of Cruise, Waymo, ChatGPT, and AI graphic art, it's clear that AI is changing our world in real time and raising some really big questions. Will all of our jobs disappear? Are humans becoming obsolete? Is it already too late to intervene? Panic headlines abound, and the truth is, we don't know the answers yet. While there have been moments in the past when inventions and revelations have altered society's views of what it means to be human, AI is a new kind of disruptive technology. To help with my sermon, I asked AI to summarize itself. It shared the following. AI is a remarkable force of innovation that has the power to revolutionize our world. It can automate tedious tasks, analyze vast data sets to uncover insights, converse with us in natural language, recognize faces, interpret human conversations, and even autonomously drive vehicles. Its power to analyze vast data troves, predict outcomes, and personalize experiences is reshaping how we live and work. While I will admit that I did some slight editing for style and flow, it is incredible to me that AI instantly generated that description when I prompted it. And we have never come across a technology like that before, let alone one that could also do all of the things that it described. It is the newness, the speed, the vastness, and the seeming perfection of AI that is challenging our notion of human exceptionalism and forcing us to rethink our value in the world. Looking to the past, we have faced many disruptive technologies, especially over the last few centuries since the Renaissance and Industrial Revolution. Each time we have encountered new watershed advances, we have also faced thought revolutions, forcing us to rethink what it means to be human. When Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1436, it had a seismic impact on humanity. Prior to the 15th century, one of the most prized traits a person could possess was the ability to memorize and recite vast quantities of texts from memory. Though this may seem completely foreign today, in the Middle Ages, this was just a fact of life. Laws, news, the Bible, any time that information had to get from one person to another, it had to be recited from memory. Memorization was how rabbis gained importance. The rabbi knew the most Torah and could repeat and teach the most Torah, and that was the value of the rabbi. This all changed with the advent of the printing press. All of a sudden, humans had a radically more efficient way of communicating information, gradually rendering memorization obsolete. As memorization became less important, creativity rose to prominence. Humanity entered a new era in which artistic skill and the ability to create new, innovative, and beautiful art and literature became more and more important. 600 years later, we still consider creativity and artistry to be one of the most valuable human attributes. In the 1600s, the Copernican revolution broadened our horizons. Previously, we had believed that the universe was geocentric, that everything revolved around the Earth, and by extension, around us. Copernicus radically altered this understanding, teaching us that the universe was heliocentric, or sun-centered. If the sun and the planets did not revolve around us, we had to rethink our role in the cosmos. It was a humbling moment for humanity, one that opened our eyes to our smallness in a vast, vast universe. It inspired collective awe of the miracle of our existence in the world, in the universe, awe that we can still feel on clear, starry nights. The 19th century brought with it Darwin's theory of evolution, which radically changed our collective thinking about what it means to be human. While prior to the 1800s, we believed humans were the only intelligent creatures on the planet, Darwin taught us that all species are related to each other through one common ancestor. Darwin forced us to rethink human exceptionalism. If we all evolved from an ancient source of life, other species must also be able to reason and communicate. Ultimately, evolution taught us that there is no single way to be intelligent. Birds, mammals, insects, each species has its own way of navigating the world. This notion of different kinds of non-human intelligence in some ways laid the foundation for the concept of AI. Judaism, like the rest of society, has had to adapt to each of these revolutions in thought and technology. Judaism is very slow to change. Most religions are. It's largely by design, as value and belief systems are generally thought of as eternally true and universally resonant. After all, the lack of a driver in the car next to you probably shouldn't cause you to rethink the 10 Commandments. In the past, Judaism has not always responded to technology with ease. Matzah-making machines were, apparently, invented in 1859. Though it might sound ridiculous, given that boxed matzah is all we eat today, up until 164 years ago, all matzah everywhere was handmade. Instead of excitedly embracing these new matzah machines, Jewish communal leadership did the exact opposite, vehemently condemned them. Immediately upon hearing about these matzah makers, rabbis across Europe came together and put out an urgent alert for Israel. Rabbis did not trust these machines in the slightest. Not only were they going to take away jobs, but they were also completely unreliable, and they would make tons of mistakes, rendering all of the matzah that they produced unkosher. For anyone interested in following the laws of Passover, they claimed, a matzah made by a machine was no better than a loaf of bread. Clearly, this alert did not age very well. Within a year, these rabbis retracted their condemnation, admitting that machine-made matzah was perfectly fine, maybe even better than the human-made variety. Needless to say, it's easy to see parallels to today's conversations about artificial intelligence. In the face of rapidly changing and unfamiliar technology, it's easy, even natural, to lash out and to bury your head in the sand, to pretend that it doesn't exist and will miraculously disappear if you refuse to use it or engage with it. While many things about AI are not yet known, it is clear that it is here to stay, and any sort of alert for Israel about the ways in which AI will lead to the downfall of society should be met with skepticism. In a recent episode of Freakonomics Radio, Adam Davidson, the guest host, remarked that while technology companies focus on improving and advancing the tech behind AI, they largely don't focus on the ethical ramifications of their creations. As a result, technology often outpaces ethics. If engineers truly just focus on the tech, it is up to ethicists, philosophers, and religions like Judaism to weigh in on the questions that emerge from the application of that technology. Real existential questions have emerged as AI advances. If AI can or will soon be able to do various things better than humans, what does it mean to be human? What is the role of AI? A different sort of intelligence emerged at the dawn of creation. In our sacred Genesis story, Adam and Eve gain intelligence by eating from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. As we know, initially, God forbade Adam and Eve from eating from the special tree. Well, God had told them that they would die if they ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge. The serpent clarifies that that's not actually what God meant. You are not going to die, the serpent asserted. But God knows that as soon as you eat from this tree, your eyes will be open, and hayitem ke'Elohim, you will become like God, who knows good and bad. This ability to discern moral value and to make difficult judgments is what literally made humanity B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And that godliness was only achieved by making a mistake, by disobeying God's instructions and eating from the tree of knowledge without permission. According to Genesis, this transgression-induced eye-opening is what makes us human. We are not perfect. We make mistakes, and that is what makes us divinely inspired beings of value. There's another story in the Talmud where God is just about to give the Torah to Moses, and the angels protest. Why do humans deserve the Torah, they assert, pushing God on why in the world God would choose to give the precious Torah to flesh and blood. Humanity does not deserve the Torah, they claim. Angels deserve it. God turns to Moses, giving him the chance to rebut the angels and prove that humanity does deserve the Torah. Moses turns to the 10 Commandments, asking the angels line by line if they can follow the Torah's commandments. Do you perform labor so you can cease from it and rest on Shabbat? No. Well, you can't follow the Torah. Do you ever get tempted to lie or swear when you're conducting business? No. Well, you can't follow the Torah. Do you ever get jealous or filled with evil inclinations that tempt you to murder, to steal, or to curse your parents? You don't? Well, you can't follow the Torah. The list goes on, and it becomes clear. The angels, being perfect and devoid of bodies, relationships, and emotions, cannot follow the Torah. Only humanity deserves the Torah because the Torah is written for imperfect beings with flaws. The fact that human beings have bodies and have faults means our relationship to the Torah is valuable and meaningful, and that we can learn from it by striving to observe the commandments. If God believes our flaws and mistakes are why we are Ke'Elohim, like God, and why we deserve the Torah, perhaps that is an ineffable part of what makes us human beings. The idea of imperfection defining humanity appeals to me. I think there's a core Jewish value in the messiness of the struggle to define good and bad, right and wrong. There is value in the learning, the growing, and the changing that we all do every day. I also think that the notion of embracing our own imperfection helps contextualize what Judaism can teach us about AI. The question isn't about what AI takes away from humanity by doing it better than we do. The question is about how we can continue to be who we are alongside AI. As AI made splashy panic headlines this summer, another global phenomenon turned our world a bit pinker: the Barbie movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. If you haven't seen it yet, you really should. But the basic premise of the movie is that two worlds exist in parallel to each other: the Barbie world and the human world. One world, the Barbie world, is, on paper, perfect. Not only is it very pink, but it is also consistent. It is safe, it is peaceful, it is predictable, and it is fair. The other world, the human world, is none of those things. As we all know from living life, our world is messy, irregular, unfair, and unpredictable. A breach between these two worlds ensues, and things go awry. I'll let Greta Gerwig's movie take it from there, but suffice it to say, the Barbie movie raises a lot of questions about what it means to be flawed, imperfect beings, and what it means to live lives of meaning. In his book, Judaism in a Digital Age, Danny Schiff asserts that God did not create humans to be perfect, finished beings. God created us as, quote, raw material with untold potential to fashion ourselves and our world into something exalted, something godly. Jewish tradition regards vulnerability as the feature of human life that propels us to do something of lasting value. Like the Barbie world and like AI, you can have perfection. You can have never-ending sameness and predictability. But in that artificial world, you cannot have what it means to be human. It's the flaws, it's the mess, it's the emotions, it's the connection, it's the community, it's the relationships, it's even the frustration at the perfect, overly rule-following driverless vehicles on the road next to us. And it is all the muck in between. That is what makes us Ke'Elohim. That is what makes us deserve the Torah. That is what makes us human beings of value who can make value in the world around us. As we enter 5784 together, it is my hope that we are all able to embrace this humanity in ourselves and to lean into it together. Our High Holy Day liturgy is designed to support us in our imperfection. Year after year, we return to these 10 days of repentance, to the ritual of throwing away our sins at Tashlich, and to the Kol Nidre prayer, which proactively declares that we will break promises and we will make mistakes in this year ahead, and that that's okay. This year, instead of bemoaning our messiness and imperfection, may we all see it as our special human gift, the opportunity to grow and learn and change in the process. Shana Tova.